Hello, welcome back to the one. My name is Beast. Today we're back with imminent depression, probably. Also Grisaia, though.
Also, me, much to
Yes,
my surprise.
the man that abandoned us to the depression of a cat death is back.
I will never forgive you.
You never forgive me when the washing gets wet.
Oh, that's a new one.
I remember saying to one of my immediate bosses, "You blame me when the milk goes sour."
I mean, to be fair, you can be blamed for that if the milk went sour while outside of the fridge, because then somebody left it out.
Yeah, I don't even touch milk.
Like, I actively had to contend with that, like, I think a week ago. I tried to make myself a bowl of cereal, and I tried to pour milk in, and, like, at first I didn't find the milk in the fridge, and then I saw, oh, it's next to the coffee machine. So I tried to pour it, and it just came out in globs.
You got cheese.
Like, I just, immediately, I tried to salvage the rest of the cereal by getting rid of the other one, but there were, like, still was milk globs on others, so I decided, you know what, nah, this is this is salvageable. Just dump the entire bowl, get some more. Which is bad because the bags of cereal that I buy, it's like per bag, it only has like two bowls. Like bowl size for me, which is probably
Mm.
like three or four bowls for the normal person. Anyways. So yeah, and I am someone that always puts the milk back in the fridge because even if the milk doesn't go bad while it's not in the fridge, it's gonna be warm, and I hate warm milk. Milk must either be cold or like properly warm, not room temperature. Anyways, now that that fucking haterade is over, let's just get back into it. I'm gonna turn off my webcam for this because I don't feel like moving it right now. There's another me inside me. I'm not playing with words or anything. It really is a completely different person. My body doesn't belong to me alone. That really scares me. God damn it, Morgan. That really scares me. But it's thanks to her that I'm even alive today. She knows everything about me, but I know nothing about her. In that case, which of us has the better claim to be the real me? Actually, the one that doesn't know about the other. It is. Yuji could solve this entire issue by just literally pulling out fucking documented studies on dissociative identity disorders. Because a
Mm.
lot of the time, by a lot of the time, I mean almost every time, the like the created personality that isn't the original remembers everything that the original personality does, but the original personality does not remember anything during the time when the other personality is in control.
Mm. Okay.
That is actually something that has been proven to be a pattern with dissociative identity disorder. So the fact that she knows nothing about her while the other person knows everything about her is literally proof that she herself is the real her.
Hmm. That's reassuring.
Yeah,
All I was thinking of, this is a tale of two Michirus.
that could be the title, but I'm not that uninspired. I was born into a relatively wealthy family. My parents valued me highly, all the more so because I was their only child. They provided me with an excellent education, hoping to raise me into a worthy daughter, one they could show off with pride. Although I was still a child, or maybe because I was still a child, they brought countless tutors to our home to pack knowledge in my head, like travelers stuffing all their luggage into one tiny overburdened suitcase. The tutors were all excellent in their fields, and they all charged heavily for their lessons. After studying with them, even the most uncooperative, dim-witted children could be safely sent off into the world. But I guess that was sort of a special case. It took a lot of time and trouble for me to learn the simplest things. When shown a perfectly clear example and then told, now you try it, I couldn't even imitate my tutors properly. I understood what I needed to do, but when I tried to put that knowledge into practice, my voice would shake and my throat would go dry. Even though I wasn't being threatened in any way, tears would come to my eyes. Piano and violent. Violent? Ah, yes!
Broke out.
The piano and the violent. God, I think that one girlfriend from the 100 Girlfriend manga just invaded my mind for a second.
I'm
Like-
just reminded of Sally Brown's comment of violins broke out.
Yeah, if you don't know, like one of the girlfriends in the manga that is literally just like proper girl that plays the violin, but adores violent games, movie, everything. Like she will, like her fucking catchphrase is "molto violento." Which fits because, like, one of the other girlfriends is the fucking baseball masochist. When I hesitated, my tutors would say, "You didn't understand? I'll do it one more time," and repeat the example faster than before. And then they would glare at me with eyes that said, "Get it right already." That really, really scared me. Okay, those tutors literally are bad at their jobs then.
Yeah.
Like, they're brought here to teach one child. They don't need to make sure that they learn fast because other kids are around. No, they're literally teaching one child. And, oh, they didn't understand? Better go over it with less accuracy because I'm trying to make this quick. And then fucking glare at them if they don't fucking answer me immediately. You are literally just, oh my god. God, people are stupid.
Yeah. And more to the point, I think Michiru's parents bear some of the blame because I think she was quite young when they were trying this.
Yeah, they did say that.
It says she was quite young.
Still a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume probably before. Like,
Yeah, 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah, like I would say probably at the very least before first grade.
Yeah.
My body would freeze up entirely, my clothes would grow damp with sweat. By the time my molars began to chatter against each other, I could no longer muster the strength to even try. The tutor would scowl down at me, looking ready to burst in anger, angry shouting at any moment. The heavier their gazes weighed on me, the less I could move or think. Time crawled past in an empty silence. In the end, the tutor would simply sigh in exasperation and leave the room. So they're just abandoning their fucking jobs now. It wasn't uncommon for my lesson stand with nothing more than that. Rejected and humiliated, I could only reflect on my own uselessness. As I stood in my quiet room, stuck still and alone, eventually I would hear an angry voice from outside. Yes, because they are! They literally are! They're teaching a child that clearly is not even going to school yet, because if they were going to school, they wouldn't need the tutors probably, because she's going to school.
Yeah. And besides which, even if they really do have educational difficulties, wouldn't it be an idea to show some patience and understanding
Yeah,
generally?
exactly. They're literally like, oh, she doesn't understand? How fucking dare this bitch! Like, okay, what the fuck is your problem, brother? Again and again, violent words rattled against my window pane like fat drops of icy rain. I would cover my ears and wait for the storm to pass. It tended to go on for quite some time. When the shouting finally ended and silence returned, my father would come to my room and push open the door.
Michiru, どうした? 先生に遠慮することはないんだぞ。お前はパパとママの子だ。やればできるんだからね。あの無能どもにはお前のいいところをちゃんと伸ばせるようにとしっかり言ってやったからな。今度からは頑張るんだぞ。
頑張る。
よし、できるな。そうだ、欲しいものはあるか？何でも買ってやるぞ。
My dad was nice to me. was hard to believe it was the same person who'd been shouting at the teacher just a few minutes ago. Well, to be fair, the teacher was literally being an asshole to his daughter. Like, he hired him to do a job, and the man not only did his job terribly, but even brought his daughter close to tears. If I was him, you probably would not stop at fucking shouting.
Yeah.
Like, those teachers here to teach something, but instead they go learn, namely what these fists do. When he held me against his broad, powerful chest, I smelled cigarettes and women's perfume. Never the same brand. It was comfortable, but also a little scary. Got to do better next time. Can't let daddy and mommy down. Oh. I was gonna say, like, oh, maybe the mom's... No, the mom's not dead. Mom's still there. At night, I knelt by the window, joined my small hands together, and prayed to the stars.
私がちゃんと習い事やお勉強ができるようにしっかり見守っていてください。
It's gonna also happen that, like, the parents are gonna divorce, the mom is gonna get custody, and the mom's a bitch or something. Calling it now. The next day was my regular music lesson. I sat perched quietly in front of a piano that had been shipped overseas from Hamburg, waiting for the teacher to arrive. In that moment, if somebody had snuck up and hit the keyboard, I might have tumbled right off the bench. My anxiety and fear must have shown on my face. When my tutor finally arrived, she closed the door carefully behind her and immediately came to my side.
あなたはね、本当にダメで落ちこぼれでバカなのよ。
Christ!
わかってる？
What is wrong with these teachers? What is the screening process her dad is putting these through to continuously let people like these through?
Yeah. This next bit will make your blood boil, if it hasn't already.
She spoke in a very gentle voice, so for a moment the sentence didn't really register, but all too soon I realized that she had spoken awful,
さ
terrifying
あ言っ
words.
てごらんなさい。私は落ちこぼれのダメな人間です。
Oh yeah, some bitch gonna die tonight. They will never find the body. And if they find it, they will not be able to recognize who it is, not even by the fucking teeth.
Or alternatively, if somebody tries to find the body, they join the body.
The tutor struck me with a thin, stiff rod. The stinging pain of the blow lingered like a nasty paper
あ
cut.
なた日本語がわからないの？誰がそんな返事をなさいって言いました？だってさあ言ってごらん。あなたのせいで私がお父様に無能だと言われているのよ。あなたが全部悪いんでしょ。あなたの責任なのよ。はい。私は落ちこぼれでバカのダメな人間です。
I didn't want to say it. Even a child could understand how cruel those words were. But I was so terrified of being struck again that I squeezed them out anyways.
私は落ちこぼれでバカなダメ人間です。そうね、よくできたわね。褒めてあげましょうね。さあ、練習するわよ。はい。そうそう。先生が指導したところ、お父様に見せたらダメよ。もしそんなことしたら殺しますからね。
I don't think she could have been serious, but my entire body shrunk in fear. I was so terrified that I couldn't answer. And since I didn't respond, she hit me again. From that day on, violence came to be known as discipline.
いい子ね。では、レッスンしましょう。
I had numerous tutors, but after that day, it wasn't long before every one of them began to discipline me in the same way. That female tutor might have told the others that I wouldn't have tattled my parents no matter what they did to me. That discipline grew more refined with time, developing into a kind of art. They found ways to cause me pain without leaving telltale marks behind. Skillfully and thoroughly, they broke me in body and mind. It became impossible for me to look people in the eye when I spoke. I was never good at handling lengthy conversations, but my responses grew shorter with every passing day. At the end, I was barely speaking at all. Even then, my suffering might have been slightly meaningful if those Spartan lessons had produced results. But no matter how hard I tried to please my tormentors, they would never improve my evaluations. My father dismissed the tutors in 1s and 2s over terrible results, until none remained. They cursed me to my face before they went. Some even spat on the floor of my room before stalking out.
みちる、何か嫌なことはあったかい？
何もない。
そうか。まあ、勉強や習い事なんてできなくていいさ。健康に育ってくれれば、それだけでパパは満足だぞ。
Late for that, you fucking incompetent bastard! Like, I don't care how nice you are now. You literally you just went, like, you there, teach my daughter. Background check? Who needs a background check? Like, you called the tutors incompetent, and while yes, that is entirely true, it sure is funny that an incompetent calls people incompetent. But I was unable to fulfill even that modest hope. On my walks around the garden, I would sometimes find myself painfully short of breath, clutching my throbbing chest. My parents grew concerned. Eventually, they brought me to a big hospital for an examination. And there I was diagnosed with a serious heart disease. The doctor's verdict: continuing to lead a normal life outside of the hospital would necessitate significant restrictions of my activities. From now on, I'd have to refrain from vigorous exercise.
穏やかに無理をせず過ごしなさい。そうでないと取り返しのつかないことになるよ。
I couldn't study or play the piano. I was never much of an athlete. Even talking with people was a struggle. And now I'd become an invalid who couldn't even live a normal life. As I watched my parents' faces filled with disappointment, a thought occurred to me. Oh, look at that. The tutors were right all along. They told me I was a stupid, useless person who didn't even deserve to live, and they weren't wrong. They must have said it hundreds of times. Why didn't I figure this out earlier? Of course they beat me. It's only natural to treat garbage like garbage. Thinking that way made me feel a little better. I was stupid to even try to answer my parents' expectations. I wasn't cut out for that from the start. The thought freed me from my burdens. It also wiped away the meaning of my existence. Soon my parents had lost all hope in me and devoted their nights to producing a new child. Their previously frequent visits to my room grew rare, and the time I spent alone increased. Okay, so now the parents have dropped the act. My room was always cold. I kept the curtains shut throughout the day. Little by little, I felt myself slipping away from the world outside. Nothing I did turned out right, but of course it didn't. I was effective from the start. Clumsy and awkward as I was, I soon found the one and only thing I was good at. Letting time roll past in empty, uneventful silence. I would sit quietly in the corner of my room, not budging a millimeter all day, simply drawing breath. That alone became something of a specialty of mine. Even a mollusk at the bottom of the sea probably couldn't beat me at staying still. That was all I had left to be proud of. To live like a clam, but biologically speaking, I was a human being. My body grew larger, little by little, and in time I stopped being a child. I was no longer allowed to shut myself up in my room doing nothing. I had to go to a place called school. The little mermaid who lived at the bottom of the sea couldn't speak the human tongue very well, but at the same token, I couldn't really communicate with the other students. Didn't help that I was a clam, not a beautiful princess. Everyone around me could live a normal life. I envied them from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't study or make friends. Moving around a little would get my heart screaming with pain. Just keeping myself breathing was about all I could manage. At first, a number of my classmates made an effort to draw me out of my solitude. But I didn't know what to say to them. Most of the time I just nodded my head and mumbled "yeah" with a stiff expression on my face. Inevitably, the people who approached me gradually gave up, and eventually the class came to operate as if I wasn't there. It was kind of a relief in a way. Nobody expected anything from me, so I couldn't disappoint anyone. It was as though I was made of air. Even at school I could return to my life as a clam. I thought that was just fine. Not bad at all. My parents made sure I went to school regularly, probably thinking I'd at least have to communicate with other people there, but it wasn't rare for me to go an entire day without speaking a single word. Even when the teachers took attendance, they just glanced in my direction, not bothering to call my name. As my free time increased, I began to think pretty regularly about the point of my own existence, or rather the pointlessness. Why was I going to school? Why was I even alive? Considered those questions at some length. Watching from afar as my classmates laughed together and chatted enthusiastically about television, or sometimes I would have to fight down the urge to burst into tears. They were so close, but I was separated from them by an insurmountable wall. Even a trash can is useful to others. I was just taking up space. Why was I born in the first place? My parents had given me a cell phone, saying I'd probably need it as a student. There wasn't a single message or call recorded in the history log. Memory was clean, pure white. My phone must have been lighter than anyone else's. It was empty inside. Unless I kept a firm grip on it, it'd probably float up into the air, get pecked at by some passing bird, and disappear with a pop. I want to die. In the end, that was my only conclusion. A year passed in that school, then two. That was my only constant rock of truth. On the deserted rooftop of the school building, looking up into the blue sky that stretched out over the road to school, I longed for death. I simply didn't understand the point of continuing to breathe. Living every day as a non-entity is something like walking on an icy road in bare feet. At first, it's scary, but soon enough your nerves are paralyzed. You feel nothing at all. A good while later, when you realize this might be pretty bad, it's already far too late. There's nowhere to go from here. There's nothing to be done. You live every day of your life frozen to the ground, choking on bitter cold air. Might as well just die then. With that thought in mind, I began to head up to the roof during every recess period. Up there, the only thing separating this world from the next was a waist-high steel fence. Someday I'll cross over that fence and become free. Someday I'll escape into nothingness. Comforted by those thoughts, I waited patiently for the right timing. I waited for someone, God or whoever else, to send a sign just for me. Wrap my arms around my knees and sit telling myself that maybe today would be the day. Maybe the day the clouds would part for a ray of light and a voice from above would say, "Come, it's time." I would stare closely at the trains barreling past the station, wondering if the sign might flash past in the window of a carriage. But instead I just sat by myself on that roof. No matter how long and patiently I waited, I never saw any signals. Nobody whispered the words in my ear. In the end, I was all alone, just like I was everywhere else. Every place was the same to me. I was in the corner of the room where I'd been beaten terribly. I was deep in the bottom of the sea where no light could reach me. It was the end of the world, surrounded by all sides by silent walls of stone. God must have been busy with something else. Otherwise, why wouldn't he fly over to me and speak the words? One day, when I went to the rooftop as usual, I found a girl who had just, in that very moment, crossed over the fence. She was standing boldly on the very edge of the building, staring straight ahead. When I saw her, one powerful thought filled my mind. That's not fair. Hey! I was here first!
Yeah.
After that, my anguish, internal debating, all my suffering, all my waiting, I couldn't get myself over that fence. Why did this girl get to make it look so easy? The girl was going to kill herself. She was going to leap off the roof, fall into the concrete below, and end her life. It was obvious enough from the way she stood there, straddling the border between roof and sky, arms outstretched like wings to catch the wind. Seemed almost to be enjoying herself. I just realized that is not a waist-high fence, really. Like, well, sure, if you stand on the fucking... that...
Yeah.
Like,
also, from a
concrete
previous image, I think it
break.
was probably higher, but oh well.
Mm-hmm. What sort of pose you would make if you cared about your own life? Anyways, it wasn't fair. Why should you get to die when I had to live? I didn't have the first idea who she was, but it wasn't just wasn't fair. I was trying to shout as loud as I could, but what came out of my mouth was a weak, spiritless sound, like the rasping of a broken-down old accordion. Probably didn't help that I wasn't used to conversation. My voice wasn't coming out right. The girl quietly stared down at the ground below, not even noticing my presence behind her. She seemed to be looking at the exact moment to jump. Maybe God had already given her the signal. Called out again and again, but she didn't seem to hear. Maybe I no longer even existed in this world. Maybe I'd slipped into some alternate plane of existence long ago and was just peeking into this world through an interdimensional one-way mirror. She ignored me so completely that it seemed possible. Called out to her, my voice choked with tears. But even then, she didn't turn around.
よし、せーのでいくか。うん。せーの。ねえ、聞いてよ。うわ
The girl's body went into spasms of shock. She looked like a wild animal with its first animal limb.
びっくりした。落ちるとこだった。
You were trying to jump off! And then, at long last, she timidly turned around to face me.
誰？ねえ、聞いてよ。え？なんで泣いてるの？っていうか、いつからいたの？ずるい。死ぬとかずるい。ずるい？え？どういうこと？
Tear-stained face must have been a real sight. The girl lifted herself over the fence and returned to this side. She was wearing the same uniform as me, and surprisingly, she was clearly from my school.
あんた、すっごいひどい顔してる。拭いたら？
Oh, she has
You
a
nice
fucking...
what's on her wrist?
Yeah. She handed me her handkerchief and I dried my tears. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. It was embarrassing, but it made me sort of happy. I didn't really know what to do
で、
next.
何？用？
That was kind of a hard question, actually. I just didn't want her to die. It's not like I was about to lecture her on treasuring her life or anything. I was just scared by the thought of someone escaping this world while I was still hesitating on the edge.
何？
The girl watched me as if observing some rare species of animal. And I have the first idea where to begin, or how to explain myself. So after thinking it over for quite some time, I chose the simplest
は
option.
じめまして。松島みちるです。このタイミングで挨拶？しかもそれだけ？終わり？それを言うためだけに？
Screwed up after all, huh? Guess I can't even manage a normal conversation anymore. Thought it made me genuinely sad. I couldn't find my usual numb indifference. Felt like a harsh reminder that I didn't belong in this world any longer. God, that was a fake laugh.
Yeah.
Watching as I slumped my shoulders dejectedly, the girl burst into laughter. And although I didn't have any real evidence either way, it didn't feel like she was mocking me. I was relieved. Happy laughter. Sort of laughter I hadn't heard in a long time.
何それ？あなた変な人ね。
I wasn't sure what to do, so I just stood there quietly as she laughed and laughed. No matter how impatiently I waited, she just wouldn't stop. Much the opposite. After a while, she threw herself down on the ground and began rolling around, her roars of amusement even louder than before.
おかしい。変なの。怖かった。すっごい怖かった。何事かと思った。っていうか死ぬかと思った。
Watching her rolling around like that started to get me into kind of silly mood too. The moment I noticed a little giggle slipping out of her mouth, the dam seemed to break. Began to laugh so loudly I surprised myself.
笑ってる。何それ。
The two of us laughed for a very, very long time. Long enough that the color of the sky changed above us. Long enough that I could almost believe whole seasons had passed by. When her laughter finally came to an end, the girl rose shakily to her feet, both hands clutching her belly. She opened her mouth to speak, but at first she could only manage a very high-pitched little giggles. A few high-pitched little giggles.
死ぬ気なくなっちゃったなこれ。
Sorry, I had to put my fucking headset back on. Ayo, the fucking notification isn't massive. The fuck?
Yeah.
So that was it after all. The girl had been planning to die. I knew that much from the start, but when she came out and said it so bluntly, I was still slightly taken aback.
バカらしい。ああ、笑えた。こうなるとあなた、命の恩人だね。命の恩人でしょ？うん。ありがとう。
Didn't deserve to be thanked by anyone. I didn't deserve to be thanked by anyone. Why was she saying this to me?
なんで？むしろなぜ泣く？よしよし、落ち着け落ち着け。どう。なんで
The girl wrapped a hand around my neck and drew me close. After briefly petting my head, she hugged me tightly against her.
あなたは本当に変な子だね。でもそういう子嫌いじゃないぞ。とか言ったりしてな。
Oh no, she's gay! The chest had a sweet, milky odor. I feel like there's a problem with saying a woman's chest has a milky odor. Like, am I the only one that sees a problem with that? Why is
Well-
Bud muted again? Bud! Speak to us. He's dead. Oh. Chest had a sweet milky odor. I'd never smelled another girl's body like this before. I didn't know what to do about anything, really. It was all too much. My mind just kept going. I couldn't keep up.
そうだな。友達になろうか。うん、友達になろう。何しろ命の恩人だもんね。これはもう親友だな、むしろ。そうだよ、親友だよ。親友じゃん？
親友？
よろしくね、親友。
よろしくお願いします。
I convinced myself there was no place for me in this world, but when I felt the life pulsing in her chest, I found myself able to breathe easily again. She smelled sweet and her body was soft and warm. I couldn't remember the last time I'd been so close to another person. Contact with other people had always seemed so scary. It really was scary, to be honest, but at the same time, I couldn't put this. More than anything else, it felt like someone was gently tickling my heart. I returned home that day feeling as if I'd been reborn, probably because of my unusually cheerful expression. My parents struck up a conversation with me in the first time in a while. Wasn't able to explain very well, but I did tell them I'd gotten to know somebody at school. Didn't say I made a friend, but I'd known a best friend
Yeah,
after
Mike.
all. Huh?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Oh, there we go. He has he has
Ah,
muted
good. You are
himself
still
again.
there.
After all, there was still a
Yes,
chance
yes.
it had all been a delusion on my part. Maybe tomorrow everything would be right back to the way it was. That would be way too sad, right? Better not get my hopes up. My parents said I see good for you, mixed emotions on their faces. Not that it bothered me much. That night I had my dinner slightly earlier than usual and slipped into bed slightly before my normal time. For once I actually wanted tomorrow to arrive a little faster. But at school the next day I found everything the same. It wasn't like I had changed after all. I was still just myself. Nobody in my class even tried to talk to me. That morning I thought I might be able to keep a bit of a smile on my face, but in the end my expression was gloomier than ever. Maybe that girl I met the other day before was a sign from God, a little cosmic meddling to keep me from killing myself at the wrong time. Could have just said so from the start then. I nearly misunderstood. Nearly thought I'd found some place where I belonged. I thought it was okay for me to live. Nearly started thinking like a normal person. That was a close one. Almost forgotten what my tutors taught me so thoroughly. Yeah, that had to be it. I didn't have a best friend. That was all a dream. Dreams aren't worth it, are they? They end up feeling really tired. You end up feeling really tired when you wake up. At school, I stood for my seat before anyone else and beeline for the exit. For now, I just wanted to get out of that place, but the rooftop had become frightening, so I couldn't go back there. I wanted to run away, but I couldn't figure out where to go. All I knew was that I didn't want to be where I was. When I slipped open the door and dashed out into the hallway, there was a harsh thump and everything went black for a moment. In my haste, I'd run headlong into someone.
ごめんなさい。
Somehow squeezing out the words, I turned to run, but before I could take another step, someone finally seized me by the back of my uniform, reflexively dropped my bag and shielded my head against the blow that would follow. It was a deeply ingrained habit from my childhood. When the tutors hit my head strongly, the nausea and dizziness would sometimes last for hours. If nothing else, I wanted to avoid that. But the violence I feared didn't arrive. On the contrary, my captor bent down, picked up the bag I'd thrown to the ground.
相変わらず変な人だね。松島みちる。
Oh, there we go. Oddly placed notification again. It was the first time in a while somebody had bothered to call me that. Silly thought flashed in my mind. Oh, well, that's what my name sounds like.
ねえ、お腹空いたからどむんない？おごるから。
ど、まる？
front of my eyes was the girl from my dream. I was definitely awake, but somehow I was dreaming.
断ったりしないよね。親友だもんね。この後何か用事でもあるの？
Couldn't get myself to speak properly, so I shook my head vigorously from left to right. Nah, nothing at all. And I kept right on doing it until the last the girl reached out and caught my cheeks in her hands to hold me still.
わかったわかった。それじゃあ行こう。お腹空いちゃった。
She led me by the hand. For the first time in my life, I entered a so-called fast food restaurant. Complicated menu and colorful photographs left me lightheaded, and I didn't have the first idea how to order. After stewing in confusion and panic for a long while, I tugged on her sleeve.
あなた、本当にこういうところ初めてなの？
Quietly nodded my head. She just watched me for a moment, then giggled and then laughed in amusement. A little later, a small tray sat on a surprisingly cramped little table bearing the hamburger and fries the girl ordered for me. Felt like she was really close, eating a meal with my face so near to someone else. It made me kind of nervous. I feel my stomach churning. What am I gonna do if I
あ
throw
な
up?
た隣のクラスだったんだね。こんなに面白い子がいるなんて全然知らなかった。ん？どうかした？
これ写真と全然違う。ぺたんこ。
ハンバーガー？本当に面白いね。
うん。え、面白い？
うん、面白い。そうだ、あなたクラスメートに何て呼ばれてるか知ってる？
私、何か言われてるの？
そう、言われてる。しかも悪口。幽霊って呼ばれてんの。笑っちゃうでしょ？なんでよって思ったから。そんなこと言うのよしなさいって言っといたわよ。
She chattered happily on, swinging a fry back and forth. I had no idea how to respond. I mean, I was surprised to know they bothered to badmouth me, but I was even more shocked she told them to stop. How was this person being so nice to
し
me?
かもあなたお嬢らしいじゃん。だからってファーストフード初めてってちょっと浮世離れしすぎじゃない？
お嬢？
そう、お嬢。ところでさ、携帯ある？赤外線やろうよ、赤外線。
赤外。
わかった。それは今度にしよう。ひとまず今日は食べなさい食べなさい。ここは私のおごりだから。そのぺったんこたーんとお食べ。どうせ私にはこれぐらいしかおごれないんだし。
Picked up the miserably flat little hamburger from its bed of wrapping paper and took a large bite. I was surprised a strong, vibrant flavor instantly filled my mouth. It might not have looked anything like the photo, but it actually tasted really good.
どうだ？美味しいじゃろ。
美味しい。
なんで泣いてんの？謎なんだけど。美味しくて？美味しくて泣いてんの？それは大げさでしょ。ゾウさんも大喜びだな、こりゃ。
The hamburger was warm. The girl in front of me was kind, and I couldn't stop crying. Not surprisingly, she looked a little astounded, but even so, she laughed. No matter what I did, she'd laugh. After that, she started coming by every day after school, inviting me along to all sorts of different places. I guess she must have found my complete cluelessness kind of entertaining. One day it was karaoke, the next I think arcade. The day after that, something else entirely. I got to see a lot of new places, experienced a lot of new things.
ねえねえ、ここに書いてある初プリって何？
She laughed when I asked that question too. More than anything else, she was a girl who laughed a lot. And the places I went with her were always glittering with vivid rainbows of light. When I went back home after we said goodbye, my room looked stale and dismal by comparison. It was like falling into a broken down monochrome world. More and more, I spent my days impatiently counting down the hours until our next outing, wishing she'd swoop down and take me out of there. I remembered getting off the train with her at some station I'd never visited before and buying matching pencil boxes in a store I'd never known existed. After anguishing over my choice for dozens of minutes, I bought her a small hairpin as a present and got a pouch in return. We traded hair scrunchies, ate ice cream together. The days rolled by like one unbroken dream. Her email address and phone number were recorded in my cell phone. I was too scared to send her a message or dial a number, but for some reason, just looking at those characters on the screen would bring a smile to my face. On One day, the two of us were on the rooftop after school, gazing leisurely out at the setting sun. The girl spoke to me in a quiet voice as the wind blew through her hair.
みちるは聞いてこないよね。
何が？
どうして飛び降りようとしてたかってこと。
I was always smiling, so I was taken aback to see her looking so serious all of a sudden. More importantly, that completely unexpected question left me thoroughly
だって
flustered.
死にたかったんでしょ？それが全てじゃない。それ以上何を聞くの？
そりゃそうだね。飛び降りの理由なんてそれしかないもんね。みちるは本当に変な子だ。
そうかな。そんなことないけど。
私はね、いろいろな人にいろいろなことを聞かれるんだ。進路がどう、彼氏がどう、バイトがどう、手の傷がどう、もうよくわかんないよ。
Hang on.
もっと
But
シ
to
ン
be
プルな
fair,
世界で
one
生
of
きて
them
いたい
is a very valid question.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a couple of other things that she's omitted in her spiel as well. But I imagine the All Ages version censored them out.
What did the all ages version censor out?
Add to the marks on my wrist, drugs, and coming inside.
Ah. So she's a little sex pest is what you're saying.
Ding your bell. Me? No. Somebody to her? Probably.
What does it have to do with you? I just said she's a little sex pest.
Oh, her. Sorry, I misunderstood completely. I must have gone in deaf.
Did
I mean, you can tell a bit.
Did you think I said over here, you're a sex pest, Eagle? Like, what the fuck?
I've been accused of silly things before, but that's new, I admit.
I don't really understand what you were saying, so I listened very carefully. Thought
I've been accused of the complete opposite, funnily enough. Somebody asked me if I was asexual on one occasion.
I've never been asked that before, thankfully. If I listened carefully enough, I'd be able to pick up on at least a
結
little.
局さ、人間って一人だよね。私のことを心から大事にしてくれる人なんてどこにもいないんだ。最後にはみんな消えていくよね。
I wanted to say it wasn't true, but I couldn't manage to speak.
嫌われたくないな。だったら先に私から嫌ってやりたい。私から先に消えてしまいたい。なんてね。ああ、ごめんね。行かなきゃ。
いってらっしゃい。
みちる、
何？
好きだよ。
Those words, she playfully pretend kissed me on the cheek. My face went red as a lobster and I made a strange little hawa noise.
冗談。またね。
The evening sun was just sinking below the horizon as she left, still laughing. I just stood there for a while as darkness settled over the rooftop. That cell phone was always ringing. Didn't like it. Every time she was called off somewhere, she'd be quiet and subdued for a long time afterwards. Her smiles looked forced. I was worried somebody might be doing cruel things to her, but I wasn't able to ask. Sometimes I noticed nasty bruises on her arms and legs, even her face every once in a while. She'd always just laugh it off. It's okay, I'm fine, don't worry. You know, it wasn't okay at all. But I was afraid that asking her something would pop the bubble, destroy what we had, so I kept quiet. Even then, I knew I was being a coward. She had pulled me up from the bottom to sea. Shouldn't I return the favor? Take her hand like she did for me? The question tormented me for a very long time. There was no way I could do what she had done. I was still a piece of trash. It was only thanks to her that I could laugh a little. It was only thanks to her that I found a little happiness. I couldn't allow myself to misunderstand. This was a temporary world, a dream I'd wake up from eventually. Lingering alone on the roof, I gripped the cold metal handrail tightly. Still didn't have the courage to make a short journey to the other side of that fence. For a few days after answering that phone call, my friend didn't attend school. I was afraid something bad might have happened to her. Just like when I was a child, I knelt by the windowsill and whispered countless
神
prayers.
様、どうか守ってあげてください。今まで通り、彼女が笑っていられるようにしてください。
At school, I would hesitate in my classroom at the end of the day, thinking she might appear in the doorway like always to drag me off to play. When I was a ghost in that class, I didn't dare make myself conspicuous. I reluctantly trudged up to the roof and waited for her, but no matter how patiently I waited, she never came. It was nothing but a steady passage of time. I did nothing but draw breath in a monochrome world. One day, somebody called my cell phone from a withheld number. I was scared to pick it up, but thinking it might just be her, I gathered up all the courage and I could muster and I'd press the answer button. On the other side of the line, I heard someone breathing harshly as if in pain. Maybe it was nothing more than a random prank call from a stranger. But in my mind's eye, I saw her on the other end, the person I cared about more than anyone else in the world. And I remembered her words on the rooftop that day. I mean, when you get right down to it, we're all alone, right? It's not like anybody really cares about from the bottom of their heart. Everybody disappears in the end. I don't want to be hated, so I'll hate first. Before they can leave me, I want to disappear or whatever. Back then, I wasn't able to give her a proper response. I'd left so many things unsaid, so I'd convey those feelings to whoever this might be.
どうして一人だなんて思うの？ちゃんとあなたのこと友達だって思って大切にしてる人がいるよ。それなのにどうして一人でどこかに行こうとするの？あなたは置いていかれるのがどんなに辛いか分かってないんだ。だから勝手にどこかに行こうとしちゃうんだ。
On the other side of the phone, just like her dad, like, Michiru, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm asking why. I'm asking if you're gonna be here for dinner or not. Like, what is this all about? You okay? The fuck's happening?
Do you want to come and fetch you? Yeah.
Actually, I don't care what's happening. Just fucking leave me and your mother alone. We're gonna produce another kid since you.
Why?
Because that's literally what they were doing.
That's true.
失うことは当たり前だよ。誰かに嫌われることだって特別なことじゃない。私、あなたのこと大好きだよ。だからどこにも行かないで。もしあなたが自分のことを幸せだと思うなら、これから幸せになろう。ここに戻ってきて、これからまた一緒に生きよう。
Person on the other end of the line hung up without a single word. It felt as though I'd been abandoned. Left behind, I squeezed my cell phone tightly in my hand. Even though I don't know who called me that day. Next time I saw my friend was more than 2 weeks later. By that point, even sitting through class had become unbearably agonizing. Spent the entire day on the roof waiting for her. One day, completely out of the blue, she appeared before me once again. Don't say a word. There wasn't a trace remaining of the girl who had always laughed so happily. Her school uniform was tattered and torn. Her hair looked like it had been hacked at with a knife. Her face, too, was full of bruises, numerous wounds, as cruel as anything that tutor had inflicted on me, were openly visible, even in the most conspicuous of places. Something terrible must have happened. Something so terrible I didn't even want to imagine it. It must have lasted a horribly long time. Just like that, there were tears in my eyes. God didn't protect her. I couldn't protect her.
大丈夫。これは私が望んだことだから。彼に捨てられたくなくてしたことだから。
I hadn't asked a question, but she answered it anyway. Those clipped, vague words weren't enough for me to understand what had really happened to her, but I knew she was lying. I knew many sad, horrible things must have happened. Things she couldn't possibly have wanted to happen. Slowly approached her and then wrapped my arms around her trembling body. Surprised even me. I didn't expect myself to do such a thing.
ありがとう。ミッチェルは優しいね。
そんなことない。
そんなことあるよ。あなたは優しい子だよ。ねえ、噂は聞いてるでしょ？あれってその通りなんだ。まったくバカだと思うよ。笑っていいよ。
In the classroom, my friend had become the subject of rumors. My classmates said she'd gotten to know a man decades older than her over the internet. A man with a wife and children. They said he treated her like his mistress. They said something about photos of her and that man getting scattered around the internet. He said he'd done terrible things to her. None of it mattered to me. No matter what had happened, it didn't change the fact that she wasn't my best friend.
バカじゃないよ。私はバカだけど。
そうだね。こんな私と仲良くしてくれるなんてバカかもね。
そんなことないもん。
私、学校で嫌われてるんだ。友達もいないの。でもね、誰も相手にしてくれないから、あなたと友達になったわけじゃないからね。あなたのことがいいなって思ったから、友達になったんだからね。それだけは本当。でも信じてくれないよね。こんな私だもんね。
I wanted to say, of course I know that, but my voice failed me. It felt as though a chunk of cardboard had wedged itself in my throat. It couldn't force out even a tiny squeak.
私はミチルのことを親友だってちゃんと思ってる。ごめんね。こんなに汚れた友達で。こんなんで本当にごめんね。
I wanted to tell her that she wasn't filthy, but I couldn't say a word. All I could do was hug her tightly.
私、彼のことが好き。彼がしろって言えば、どんなことでもした。奥さんと別れてくれるなんて、そんなの最初から嘘だって分かってた。
もういいよ。話さなくていい。大丈夫だよ。
殴られても平気だった。何回でも頑張った。でももう限界。だってあの人はもう私のこと好きじゃないから。
She gave me another pretend kiss on my cheek. Closed my eyes and returned the gesture. Watching me, she smiled just a little. She grabbed her uniform, danced to the wind like feathers fallen from the wing of a bird. She put her hands on the fence and swung herself gracefully over to the other
ミチル、
side.
もう私限界。あの人が私に興味のない世界になんて、あの人が存在しない世界になんていたくない。
Straddling the border between roof and sky, standing in the line that divided this world from the next, she spoke to me. A single thought ran through my dazed brain. It's just like the first time
先
we
に
met.
行くね。
I wanted to say, I'll come with you. You're not the only one, you know. I'm not interested in the world without you in it. So if you're going, I'll come along. Just don't leave me behind. Don't leave me here alone. I wanted to tell her. You joked that you loved me once, but I really do love you. That's the reason I'm still alive today. I wanted her to know, but I couldn't speak or move. My body felt like it was encased in concrete. I couldn't lift a single
Sayonara.
finger.
ミチル。
I wanted to say the words, we're best friends, aren't we? Let's die together. But instead, I just watched her in silence like a complete idiot. Saying I was right, I'm the stupid one after all. Hey, who threw a fucking water balloon? Because that's what it fucking sounded like. Like, come on, they could have at least, like, at the recording studio, just, like, dropped, like, fucking, like, a nice big old piece of fucking pork or something. To at least have some type of meat sound. Like, how... Get a whole ass fucking pig and then just
drop it.
Just drop it, and then after it's dropped, just before you drop it, make sure everything is clean. And congratulations, you have a nice fucking pig to roast and eat after you're done with work for the day. Have a nice little office party.
Or just have an enormous off. Yeah, let's have a hog roast after making something look like a body that's dropped from multiple feet in the air. That is so morbid. You are horrific.
That was your interpretation that made it horrific. I didn't know what to do. I just cowered. Then I tried to scramble over to the rail, see her, see the end. But I couldn't do it. No matter what, I couldn't get myself over that fence. feeling my feet giving way underneath me. Couldn't even keep myself upright. Why hadn't I died with her? I was right from the start. There was never a place for me here. Screwed up big this time, didn't I? Shouldn't have let myself think I could become a normal person. Should have thought I could find something like happiness. In the end, it vanishes. Bubble pops. I guess it would have been better never to have gotten my hopes up in the first place. My parents stopped expecting anything of me. I should have stopped expecting anything from the world. I heard the wail of a siren and the chorus of a horrified scream from far away. Then I fainted, my body still twined awkwardly around that fence. Just before I lost consciousness, I heard a sound like the click of television set falling silent. I don't know if it was a hallucination or not, but I heard it clearly. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. Seemed I'd been unconscious for quite a long time. Normally, there should have been police waiting at my bed to question me, but Dad took care of all that. Probably less out of concern for me and more out of his desire to keep his troublesome situation from dragging on. I thought they'd discharged me soon enough. I discovered that my chronic chest pain had grown dramatically more intense. My body was no longer physically capable of enduring a normal life. The doctor said the shock of losing a close friend may well have advanced the progression of the disease, but I didn't really know if that was true. Either way, the pain in my heart was now agonizing, and so agonizing it could at times render me unconscious. Parents had more or less abandoned me, but I guess this miserable new development managed to move them to pity. Decided to send me to America for a heart transplant operation. Normally, I wouldn't have minded just dying, but it seemed like those two wanted to feel like caring parents. So I decided I might as well go along with it. Things moved along behind my back. Large amounts of money traded hands, though I didn't know the details. They didn't tell me much of anything about the donor, and I wasn't particularly interested either. All he said was that I'd received the heart of a brain-dead girl the same age as me. I'm sure it must have been a really big, complicated operation, but instead down the rooftop I'd been living like an empty husk. Can't really say it felt like much of an ordeal. They carried me off on an airplane to a place where I couldn't understand a word anyone was saying. The doctor put me under anesthesia and I fell asleep. If I knew it, I was right back in Japan. It did seem to happen in the blink of an eye. Didn't have time to feel much of anything. The procedure apparently went about as smoothly as possible. They pumped me full of immunosuppressants to prevent my body from rejecting the new heart, but I recovered quickly without any side effects. It didn't even feel particularly strange having another person's organ inside my body. Sometimes I almost doubted whether they'd really operated on me. Of course, just touching the scar on my chest was enough to convince myself that it had to be true. But really, what difference did it make either way? The flesh inside me constantly thumping away was different from the one that had been in there yesterday. That was all. No one was going to care. Nothing important had changed. The doctor celebrated my remarkable recovery from the surgery as a miracle. So enthusiastic, you might have thought my good fortune was his own. Parents had a relieved expression on their faces as well. Expressions that seemed to read, now we won't have to worry ourselves about this girl anymore. The many months I'd spent in various hospitals came to an end. I began to recuperate at home. That was when the first signs of the change began to appear. Apparently I was saying uncharacteristic things to my parents. I was talking and behaving in ways I usually wouldn't. It was as if I'd become a completely different person. My parents were incredulous at first. I have suspected some kind of elaborate prank. But as they knew, I wasn't exactly a practical joke by nature. I wasn't consciously aware of any of this. An alternate personality came at the price of gaps in my memory. I was sleepwalking, or turning into a different person without even realizing it. The doctor diligently studied my brain activity and asked me all sorts of questions, but in the end he could only offer a vague conclusion. This phenomenon can't be explained by modern medicine. Yes, it can. It can be explained by modern psychology, actually. Ultimately, the adults decided that the powerful psychological impact of losing a friend in front of my eyes had led to changes in my personality. But I didn't really care either way. I responded with a disinterested, "It was that so. Good to hear." The gaps in my memories became frequent. As time passed, they grew longer and harder to ignore. The other me, who showed up in these chunks of lost time, seemed surprisingly competent. From what I gathered, she was much more social than I was, and a lot better at schoolwork as well. Imagine how fucked up it would be if it turned out that the dude that the girl that threw herself off the fucking roof was fucking her dad.
That is a mental image I don't want.
Like, all this time, they're like, she's not like, oh, surely there are more than a few Matsushimas in this world. Anyways, time to hop on Dilf Dick. While she's just over there like, what am my friends doing? Hopefully she's doing good on the other side. Oh, that was a very, very bad practical joke that probably didn't even hit because the fucking webcam was off. And I doubt you heard anything.
That just made me feel queasy.
The main reason why I'm laughing is because my fucking palm hurts now.
Smooth. Clever. Very, very clever.
Yeah, I essentially tried to produce a sound by repeatedly punching my palm.
Yeah, you'd have done better by slapping the crook of your elbow. I think I would have done better.
Either way, the joke stands. I'm terrible.
Yes, you are. You are a terrible person.
One night, I noticed dinner was a little extravagant. Dad smiled across the table and told me it was a reward for trying so hard at my studies lately. It was kind of a strange experience, but I didn't really mind. I mean, if things were going smoothly, who cared if I remembered doing the things I was being praised for or not? As this pattern continued, I found myself acquiring a number of friends as well. Of course, I'd gotten to know them during the blank spaces in my memories, so I didn't really know what sort of people they were. Without any effort on my part, lots of people began to greeting me in a friendly tone on the road to school. After saying hi, they'd usually ask, "What's wrong? Not feeling so good today?" Seems like they saw the usual me as the sick Michiru, the person who showed up in those blank periods of time, lost time as the normal, cheerful Michiru.
どうした?具合が悪そうだな。
I was lying down in my room one evening when Dad stopped by to check up
ら
on
し
me.
くないぞ。いつもの元気な道を見せてごらん。
Not knowing what else to do, I forced a strained smile onto my
大
face.
丈夫。明日には元気になっているさ。今日のお前とはさよならだな。
Yeah, Jesus Christ, the Dad continues to be fucked up. Smiling, Dad left the room and closed the door behind him. And all of a sudden, an image flashed across my head. An image of a girl frozen in a flight. It was the girl who had left me so abruptly, the best friend who abandoned this world. Her final goodbye echoed inside my head, rebounding off the walls of my skull. The word was terribly sharp. Every time it clanged against the bone, it felt as though someone was drilling me open from the inside. Trembling with fear and pain, I dove into my bed in search of refuge. Greasy sweat broke out of my forehead. I swallowed a few of the pills my doctor had prescribed, pulled the blanket over my head, and squeezed my eyes shut. If I can get past this, I'll become the cheerful Michiru again. I can't break down now. I silently repeated his words to myself. And soon enough, drowsiness wrapped me up in a thick, sticky cocoon. Blanket at all. Finally, I'll be able to sleep. I'll pull through after all. It was just as those thoughts were running hazily through my mind, just as I stood on the border between reality and dreams, when I heard the unfamiliar voice from outside my blanket.
大丈夫だよ。安心して。心配しなくていいんだよ。
I didn't understand the slightest how this was supposed to be alright, hearing the voice of some strange woman so as I tried to fall asleep, it really didn't seem to qualify.
私が君の弱さを引き受けてあげる。これからずっと一緒なんだから。親友になろう。
The instant I heard those words, I felt my heart pound violently. A sharp, white-hot pain spread to my chest from my chest throughout my entire body, as if traveling through my blood vessels.
親友なんて言わないで。私の親友一人しかいない。一人しかいらない。
Remember the doctor offhandedly mentioning a phenomenon known as cellular memory. In rare cases, patients receiving heart transplants had seemed to inherit aspects of the previous owner's tastes or memories. Maybe it was true. Maybe it had happened to me. That's fucking pseudoscience right there. I'm pretty sure.
By the way, I looked up an interesting figure about heart transplants. Did you know that half of them don't survive?
Yeah, it's a fucking delicate goddamn operation.
Yeah.
No, this wasn't anything so minor. The former owner's entire personality had slipped inside me, complete and distinct from my own. And she was talking to me, declaring herself my best friend. I was about to put up with that. Another best friend was the last thing I wanted. Throwing off the covers, my pulse pounding in fear of my own body, I shouted the disembodied voice. Couldn't even tell if this was reality or some insane nightmare. The terror escalated into frenzy. I ripped out clumps of my own hair, bit my own arms, and kicked things all over the room until my feet bled. But it wasn't enough. I grabbed the box cutter from my desk, wrapped it tightly in my hands, and listened carefully, trying to figure out where the voice was coming from. The voice was the cause of this pain. It flowed through my body with the blood pumping out of my heart, bringing agony with it. I had to get that voice out of my body. With that thought, I cut up my wrist with the blade, trying to drain the voice out of me along with my blood. No matter how my arm bled, the voice remained securely inside my body. In that case, I had no choice. I need to uproot it directly. I need to get rid of that foreign entity pulsing away inside me. I pointed the blade at my own chest and stabbed as hard as I could. It wasn't the sharpest blade, but it broke the skin easily enough. Slowly it gouged its way through my flesh. Just a little further and I'd reach the heart. The invasion would be over soon. Be rid of the voice. I felt relief washing over me. Just then, I smelled the distinctive mixture of cigarettes and strange women, and realized my father had entered the room. Before I knew it, my room had become a disaster scene. The shattered and torn remnants of my belongings stained dark red with splashes of fresh blood. The box cutter fell from my hands and hit the ground with a dull thunk. The sound abruptly brought me back to reality. Dad's familiar face was so contorted that I looked at an entirely different person. I had to smile, I had to reassure him. But different words came out of my mouth. Dad hugged me close for the first time in many years, but it was very different from that girl's embrace. Even though he was holding me close, I could feel a vast chasm looming between us. That very night, I was admitted to a new hospital. Not that I had any choice in the matter. I was very quiet there. All the patients were tranquil and sedate. Sometimes I felt as though I had wandered in some forgotten corner of the afterlife. There were times when I found their constant and changing smiles frightening, but I got the idea soon enough. Basically, it was a place where you could live without getting tangled up in your emotions. You could pass the time peacefully thinking about nice things. But the opposite spin on it, in that place you weren't allowed to think about anything else. The medicine they gave me made my mind feel pleasantly clear. My other personality stopped emerging entirely. It was like living inside a tightly closed music box. Boring, but very peaceful. I stayed in there for a long time. Didn't talk with anyone. For the most part, I just stood quietly by the wall, trying not to stand out, trying to shrink myself down to the point where the world would overlook me. But one day, I tripped on the leg of a chair and fell to the ground. It had never happened before, so I wasn't sure what to do. Fortunately, no one insulted me or yelled angrily. Instead, a few patients nearby put their hands to their mouths and giggled softly in amusement. I liked hearing that sound. And lying there on the ground, an idea occurred to me. Maybe if I fell on purpose, I could make people laugh again. The next day, I tripped again, and again. People who noticed laughed a little. The day after that, I deliberately spilled a glass of water. And once again, the pleasant sound of laughter. Emboldened by my success, I smiled. More people laughed than before. Their voices were warm and gentle. I found a way to make myself useful. By devoting myself to clowning around, I could at least make others smile. They all acted out a sillier version of myself, an exaggerated, funny caricature of me. I sustained myself in a sugary, sweet diet of laughter. Hold on. I don't know why, but my hair is being really annoying right now.
Your hair has gained life of its own, is it?
Yes. Very itchy for some reason. It was worth it, oh, hold on. Alright then, from now on I'd go with this way of life. The pretending didn't bother me. It was worth it to do some for other people. It was worth it to have something to live for. Nobody had appreciated me before because I wanted them to like the real me. Problem was, the real me wasn't any good. So I might as well just pretend. All I had to do was act out the most convenient role, force out the most convenient emotions, become someone who put a smile on people's faces. Even if that meant the real me disappeared entirely, I didn't care. I was a little anxious about whether someone as stupid as me could even act convincingly, but I had no choice but to try. Among the patients, I gained a niche as the weird but funny girl. As I grew into the role, I became more lively. In turn, the doctors decided I was on my way to full recovery and politely ejected me from the hospital. I'd lost my place in the world, but my parents soon found me another. Apparently they'd heard somewhere or other about this special school that only gathered students with complicated circumstances. I was enrolled at Miham Academy soon after my return. I kept right on playing the clown in this school. Thought it would be nice to keep everyone laughing, and in fact, that's just how things turned out. The days rolled past pleasantly enough for the most part. But every once in a while, I'd abruptly remember that this too was nothing but an artificial make-believe world. When everyone laughed together, I wasn't smiling from the heart, but over time my uncertainty grew. I didn't want to lose what I'd found here, but I didn't want to grow dependent on it. The more I pretended to be someone I wasn't, the less I understood what I wanted to do. Did an imposter like me really belong here in the first place? It felt like I was living in an antlion's pit. There was nowhere else for me to go, and no way out of the rut. All I could do was struggle not to fall.
それが私なの。
Having delivered her lengthy story in one uninterrupted sitting, Michiru finally pauses, her face lined with fatigue. That makes it sound like she just rattled all of that off without taking a single breath.
薬で自分の知らない自分を抑えて人の顔色を伺って生きているのが私。そんな私を抱いてくれてありがとう。ごっこでも恋人のふりでもしてくれてありがとう。私幸せなのかもって勘違いしそうになっちゃったけど、全部嘘だって分かってるし大丈夫。ユージに抱きしめてもらってる時、キスしてもらってる時、今が終わらなければいいのにってずっと考えてた。でも終わっちゃうんだよね。いつかは離れちゃう。怖いね、それって。
Scratch my head, I search for the words Michiru needs to hear. They prove surprisingly easy to find. What you need right now isn't this fatalistic pessimism, it's medical treatment. Your problem's too complex to face on your own. Go to a hospital and have the professionals diagnose you, then work slowly and surely towards getting better. I can understand the general outline of the situation. The memories of her organ donor have influenced Michiru's mind, or so she thinks at least. It's not a common phenomenon, but apparently it's not entirely unprecedented either. Whatever the case may be, what the girl needs is appropriate treatment in an appropriate setting.
どうしても病院に行かなくちゃダメ。
I strongly recommend it. I doubt they'll keep you there longer than a week for an examination like this, and I'm worried about you.
心配か。本当なら嬉しいな。
Why would I lie? Didn't dislike that make-believe game of yours. I believe I could have found I probably could have found another way to occupy myself, but spending time with you was, well, enjoyable.
本当に
I'm not lying. How many times do you want to make me say the same exact thing?
ごめんなさい。だって私といて愉快って思ってくれるなんて嬉しくて。
I want you to just be on me, Michiru, and find that unpleasant.
困る？どうして？
This is seriously the last time I'm gonna repeat myself, because the time I spent with you wasn't half bad. Take Michiru by the shoulders and look her straight in the eyes. You're living in the present, Michiru. Don't let yourself get caught up in the past. You can't fix it. What's done can't be undone, but the future's still yours to shape. Incredibly obvious, yes, but it doesn't hurt to keep that in mind. Right now, your future is on the line. You need to take control of it. That said, I kiss Michiru briefly on the lips. She turns down her face in embarrassment and hesitates for a moment, studying the floor as if deciding which words to pick up off the ground.
ありがとう、ユージ。
In the end, she chooses extremely simple ones. Extremely simple, but not half bad. Pretty respectable choice, actually.
ユージがそう言うなら、明日にでも検査に行く。早い方がいいでしょ。
Drew, leave the arrangements with the hospital to me. I'll get some
あ
worked
り
out.
がとう。ごめんね、迷惑かけて。
You're not a nuisance, but if you're feeling guilty anyway, you can show me your gratitude once you're feeling better.
エッチなことで。
Nah, don't be an idiot.
冗談。ねえ、できれば明日の朝、早くにここを出て病院に行きたい。
I don't mind, but why?
他の子に見られたら恥ずかしいじゃない。だから、それだけ。5時でお願いします。
Sure, not a problem. For now, you should go get some rest.
うん、わかった。ねえ、ユージ。私、好き。なんて、言わないんだからね。
She delivers this line in such a subdued, quavery tone of voice that I can't help but laugh. Yeah, I got it. Alright then, I'll see you tomorrow.
またね。
Well, looks like I'm going to end up indebted to Chizuru yet again. Spend my walk to the principal's office ruminating on Michiru's story. The tale is still fragmentary and the plot's tangled. Deciphering it is going to be difficult. Might even turn out to be one of those books you can spend a lifetime on without ever finding a conclusive interpretation. Even so, I've decided to keep turning the pages. Why? Because it feels like the thing to do. Simple as that. Oh boy, 5 a.m. time for cereal. I only say that half jokingly. Sometimes I will just wake up at like... I say wake up. Not really wake up. I'll go to sleep at like 4. Not fall asleep until like 5 or 6. Suddenly get hungry. Get up. Act as if I just woke up. Because everyone in my family is going to be a pain in my ass otherwise. Eat and then go back to sleep. And by back to sleep, I mean just go to sleep. It's gotta be one of the fucking positives of finally moving out. Like, people can't fucking annoy me about that shit anymore. After we parted ways, Michiru slept soundly through the night. Sharing the burden she carried in secret for so long, even momentarily must have brought her some relief. I explained the situation to Chizuru and had her arrange an investigative stay in a nearby hospital. Of course, this involved enduring a great deal of sarcasm and sniping, but our principal wasn't about to refuse to help a student in need of medical attention. I can't say whether she was moved more by pseudo-parental affection or professional concern for her responsibilities, but I suppose it hardly matters. Hold on. Mama Chizuru?
Of course you get excited at such an idea.
Mainly just as a joke. Like, the mama
I
type
would
stuff
get
is
excited
more
at
Bud.
such an idea, yes.
Like a Bud would be excited by Mama Chizuru. I'd be excited by making Chizuru a mama, if you catch my drift.
Yes, I catch the drift.
Can't stop. Early the next morning, I prepared to see off Michiru. Normally, I'd be pulling on my sweats and head out for a run right now. But damn, skipping that. An exercise routine is only meaningful when you follow it faithfully. There's no point doing it at all if you take days off. But I understand that some things are more important than a training schedule. Some things can withstand a day's neglect. Others can be lost in a heartbeat. Difficult as it is to accurately identify the difference, prioritizing them appropriately is absolutely crucial. Head upstairs to Michiru's room and knock lightly on the door, but there's no answer. She's most likely still preparing for her departure. It's It's generally understood that women take time to get themselves ready to go anywhere, deciding it's best not to rush the girl, patiently stand by in front of her room for some time. Finally deciding that we need to get going, call out her name. Michiru. Michiru. But again, there's no response. I suppose it's a little early for her. Maybe she's still sleeping. Michiru, everything all right in there? Last, there's a quiet answer from inside the
もう
room.
何回か名前呼んで。そしたら行く。
I was a little worried for a second.
Understandable.
Yeah.
The last time he
thought it
was
was,
the last time he was calling for her at her door, she was ODing.
I
Yeah.
thought it was about to be I gently open the door scenario.
No, it's not that bad. We didn't have a choice yet. That's gonna happen when the choice happens.
Kill yourself.
Listen, I'm just saying how it is most likely. Anyways,
Genuinely.
striking me as a bit of a strange request. It strikes me a bit of a strange request, but I obey. Michiru, Michiru, Michiru. After repeating her name numerous times, I hear a rummaging sound from within. A moment later, Michiru eases open the door, dragging along a small suitcase as if it were loaded with bricks. The girl's wearing strangely dressy clothes. What's with the outfit?
どうしたってどうもしてないよ。だって会えなくなるから最後は可愛い服で会いたい。
Sure, but you're only going for a week or so, right? We'll be back soon enough. What's the point?
だからユージは女心が分かってないって言われるのよ。
Oh, who's they?
榊だ。
She would be right.
Skaki, huh?
なんだか寂しいな。
Michiru pounced a little, a clear shade of melancholy in her eyes. Seeing her take this attitude, I feel a twinge of reluctance myself. Maybe the girl who could stay and help might be enough to pull her through the worst of it.
どうしたの？怖い顔して。
Well,
No. No. You're a bastard.
okay, Michiru's around.
A no good,
Stuck on
slimy
you,
bastard.
my feelings.
I hope you know that.
Do you need some guidance for this bit?
Apparently,
You're evil.
okay,
You're a
like,
bad
okay,
guy.
okay, fuck this website because literally, like, I was silent because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck this is supposed to be. The web page for, like, all the fucking web pages are just so fucking nondescript. Oh my fucking god, what is wrong with this?
If you're looking for some sort of guidance, I've
Yes.
messaged you one.
It fucking Vox in box. Michiru's paralyzed. Okay. Nah. Like, where are we? The other girl, overdose. The other girl saying goodbye. Greaseless gears. The empty box. Vanishing act. A box and the world. The other girl. Is that it? Michiru. Yeah. The other girl. First H scene. Michiru tells Yuji everything about her past. That's the fucking wiki entry for this. For the fucking backstory.
My face one.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
descriptive.
I've messaged you something courtesy.
Thank you.
I've messaged you something courtesy of Steam.
Like, stuck on you. Just one sentence. My feelings. One sentence. Sent to the future. One sentence. Fool on the Hill explains the entire fucking bad ending. What the fuck is this? Michiru do first, it says. Well, about that. Okay, saying don't leave after all, let's stay together is the bad ending here.
Well, then give her a kiss.
Yeah, how about a
give
kiss?
us something to remember us by.
How about a kiss before you go? So I will just read out the Fool on the Hill, which is the bad ending. Don't leave after all, let's stay together. You don't need to go to the hospital, right? it's just be with me, it'll be enough, says Yuji. After Yuji says this and reflexively hugs Michiru, Michiru is actually happy to hear that Yuji is concerned for the thought of her being alone in the hospital. Yuji backs off for a second, saying, sorry, I lost my cool for a moment there. But Michiru says, don't worry, it actually made me happy, in a cheerful voice, and says her goodbyes to him and departs for going to the hospital. While she's gone, instead of what happens in her good ending, Yuji nor Sachi hasn't found Michiru's openly placed books in her room, which has Michiru's diary. Okay, I should probably read this after we've seen what happens, because that's probably gonna spoil things. So yeah, how about a kiss, darling? I don't know why. By me saying it like that, my first thought is, why did I mildly say it like it could be how about a kiss, Stalin?
Please do not kiss Stalin. That's something to put in the thumbnail.
How about a kiss before you go?
恋人ごっこで
Not just a kiss.
ただのキスか。よかろう。
The way you put that side, it pisses me off.
そうこれ、とある人の真似なんだけど。
Oh, who's that?
あれどうしたんですか？わあ小峰幸なぜここに？いえ、今日は珍しく朝早く目が覚めてしまいましたので、ワックスがけでもと思いまして、校舎の廊下に白濁液をぶっかけては吹きを繰り返していたところです。そうなの。お二人こそ揃ってどうなさったんですか
？But is muted, it wasn't
Yeah.
his side.
That
Yep,
was my niece.
Okay, it does sound like a very young person.
a smaller voice, yeah.
Yeah, she's still in the room.
Well, you know what
She's
to
stuck
do.
with us.
Well, you know what to do. Grab the tape and shut her mouth. She can speak again once we're done.
That's the preferable option, yes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I hope you're not on speaker.
No, I've got headphones in. We're good.
Oh, good.
So she also did not have to experience the depression that was a woman, like a girl ending herself after copious amounts of sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Nice.
それは
We're going to have her looked at.
検査
That's right, Michiru collapsed from anemia a little while ago, remember. As a precaution, we're taking her to hospital for a thorough examination. Nothing too serious. She'll be back better than ever in no time.
そうなんですね。でも確かにそれならすぐ済みそうです。
I'll let the others know later. I'll try not to worry too much.
はい、わかりました。心配は少しだけにしておきます。そうなのよ。心配なんてしなくていいんだからね。あとサチ、あれだ。ちょっと外に出てなさい。はい、わかりました。びっくりした。サチがいるなんて知らなかった。
Really? So we're hovering around out of the corner of my eye.
だったら先に言いなさいよね。もしかしてそれでキスしてやろうかなんて言ったの？意地悪として。
Nah, that had nothing to do with it. How about I want one?
もういい。だってサチとか急に出てくるし、そういう気分でもなくなっちゃった。
In that case, let's get going. I'll carry your luggage.
ありがとう。でもそれも大丈夫。自分でできるから。
Dragging her wheeled suitcase loudly along the path, Michiru turns her head slowly, surveying the campus.
いざお別れとなると名残惜しいね。
I got all sentimental. You'll be back soon enough.
ユージは冷静すぎるのよ。いっつもさ。
Alright, here we are. Watch yourself out there.
行ってくるね。その前に、
What's wrong? Need to piss?
違う。あんた
He has a way with
本当に意
words,
地悪ね。
doesn't he?
そうじゃなくて、さっき言ってた。
Mate, it rhymes with piss.
The piss? I mean the kiss? Right.
してほしいんだけど。
Yeah, sure.
いいよ。
So just staring at us, you know.
じー。なぜここに
Well, you told her to step out.
なぜと聞かれれば、みちる様が外に出てなさいとおっしゃりましたので、学園の外に出て待っておりましたゆえ、としか返答できませんが、何か。
Sachi,
そういうことね。
build a
わか
rocket
ったわ。
tomorrow.
では最後にもう一度だけお願いを聞いてくれる？はい、何でしょうか。ちょっと向こう向いてて。はい、かしこまりました。ほら、早くキスして。
Michiru practically collapses against me and I press my lips firmly against hers. Our hot breath mingles together. The wet sound of saliva swamping fills the air. Oh lord. Good enough?
Did you skip it?
Mouth coitus occurring.
Hold on, let me actually check.
Sachi, こっち向いていいわよ。
For a minute. Okay, never mind. I thought like that if she said for a second, she literally like turn around and turn back after a second and see
It's like that bit in Upgrade of somebody of the characters telling Stem the implant, just give me a second. 1 second has passed.
はい、そちらを向かせていただきます。
Michiru's cheeks
How
are
discreet.
slightly red, but Sachi gives no outward indication of curiosity or suspicion.
乳児にちょっと用があったのよ。悪いわね。で、あんたにはこれ。部屋の鍵ですか？そう。私がいない間に、もし暇で他に掃除をする場所がなくなったら、私の部屋を掃除してもいいわよ。はい。では、そうさせていただきます。白濁液をぶっかけさせていただきます。その言い方やめたら。さてと。
Michiru takes a deep breath, then turns to face me once more.
ユージ、今までありがとう。
Batchos words.
With those words, she shows her head. She shows her head? She bows her
Bows.
head. Deeply. Cut it out, coming from you, that just feels weird.
そうだね。お気をつけくださいね、みちる様。当たり前よ。あんたもこれからもユージの面倒見てあげなさい。あ、はい、わかりました。それではまたお会いする日まで。バイバイ、サチ。
Alright, see you later.
さよなら。
My small wife Michiru leaves the school dragging her suitcase behind her.
考えすぎでしょうか。みちる様、最後のお別れみたいなご挨拶でしたね。
Yuji just waits for her to be out of earshot. Such a search her fucking room top to bottom without a goddamn speck of dust left uninspected and report anything suspicious you find. I'm fucking following her. I don't know about that. You're probably just overthinking things. I tried to reassure Sachi, but the fact of the matter is I'm in agreement with her observation. Michiru left us, though, expecting never to see us again. If Michiru finally disappears in the distance, Sachi and I make our way back to the dormitory. In a reversal of those those summer weeks, Michiru is the only one who's vanished from this place. It's gonna be a little dull in her absence. Guess I'll have to find some way to kill the time. I ended up taking on the role of explaining Michiru's 1 week absence from the dorm to our classmates. Chizuru was in an unusually cranky mood, and, well, that pretty much covers it, actually. Grown women can sometimes behave in astonishingly childish ways. Life would probably be a little easier and less aggravating if not for that aspect of female psychology, but I suppose it's often an element of cuteness as well. Although in this particular case, I'm not confident that implies I'm going to shoot Yuji in the fucking head for daring to insult Chizuru. Just listen at the adorable brainlet.
You will be shot by a bolt-action sniper rifle before you enter his vicinity.
Fucking try me, bitch. That's right, it's just an observational stay, not much more than a checkup, really. Everyone was aware Michiru had been suffering from anemia, so the news didn't come as much of a shock. As I carefully stressed that her stay was just to be on the safe side, they accepted my explanation without too much fuss. Problems came after that. Without Michiru around, unexpected quirks began to appear in our daily lives. Like an image gradually taking form on a sheet of photo paper, the changes grew more distinct with the passage of time. What's the matter, Skaki?
いいえ、なんでもないの。
That's so? Alright then, I'll see you later.
ちょっと待って。やっぱり話を聞いて。
You really don't know how to be honest with yourself, do you?
そう？イリスさんのことなんだけど。
Oh, something up with Machina.
ちょっと言いにくいんだけど、邪魔なのよ、若干。
A nuisance, elaborate.
誤解してほしくないのは悪口とかそういうことじゃなくてね。でもなんだか普段よりもずっと、なんていうのかな、ぐいぐい来る感じっていうか。
I haven't noticed any such thing personally. I wonder what's going on here.
あ、ユミちゃんだ。ねえねえ、ちょっと話を聞いてほしいのよさ。また今度ね。昨日もそう言ってたのよさ。ねえねえ、なんで用事があるのよ。だからまたね。あれれ、おかしいな。ねえお兄ちゃん、ユミちゃんに変なことした？
Don't be an idiot, forget her. What's with you?
どうもしてないのよさ。ユミちゃんってばちょっと最近冷たいのよ。
I
ど
see.
うしたんだろう。
That's
ユ
interesting.
ニア、どこが面白いのよさ。全然面白くないでしょ。はい、罰ゲーム。
I refuse.
じゃあ、はい、何かしらのゲーム。
I'm getting the idea you just want to drag me into playing with you.
まあ、そうなっちゃうよね。チルチルがいないから退屈なのよさ。
At this point, the situation finally makes sense. Normally, Machina would be messing around with Michiru on a daily basis, but a favorite target has been absent for a few days now. Instead, Skaki has been taking the brunt of her mischief. We've all learned to play along with Machina's demented games every once in a while, but a constant barrage of attention would be exhausting. Hence, Skaki's irritation would Machina interpret as hostility. I see, so that's how it is. That girl's been playing an important role in her own right.
どういうこと？
I'm sure you'll figure it out soon enough. It'll be interesting to see what other effects emerge, if any.
もうお兄ちゃん言ってることよくわかんないのよ。疲れました。
Oh, no, Sachi was wrong.
それが皆さんの頼まれ事をこなしていたらなぜかわかりませんが普段より疲れてしまって。お願いしてたお菓子は？買ってきたよ。はい、これアメラツイスト。はーい、シール付きのアメちゃん。お菓子はアマネーが決まった数しかくれないのよさ。それをチルチルからこっそり分けてもらってたから、チルチルがいなくてお腹空いてたのよさ。
Michiru's constantly doing your favors, isn't she?
私だって世話してやってるからいいのよ、あれの。
Not referring to her as a thing might be a step in the right direction.
そういえば、ミチル様に買い物を頼まれると、その商品はどこに売っているとか、いろいろ教えてくれるので、効率よく買い物ができたのですが、最近そうもいかなくて、皆さんなぜか期間限定商品ばかりを頼むことが多いので、まず下調べが必要で、それに時間がかかり、割とぐったりなのです。
From the sound of things, Michiru's been playing middleman between the others, casually helping out and smoothing a lot of minor problems over. Because it makes sense, such does so many chores as school's maid that it'd have to be stressful without its little assistants that have to get stressful. I've noticed Michiru's acts of kindness once or twice before, but I hadn't realized that her behind the scenes support played this larger role in the group's normal dynamic.
それではここで失礼いたします。さっち、お疲れなのよさ。あめうま。あれ？あまね、どうしたの？さっちゃんに買い物頼んだんだけど、お願いしたやつと違うのよね。あれま。じゃあ交換してもらう？
いや、ほら、さっちゃんってば責任感が強いでしょ。むしろ強すぎるでしょ。だから間違いとか指摘しにくいじゃない。
なるほど。確かにそれはそうなのよさ。
こんな時にみちるがいたら交換してもらったりできるんだけどな。
あまねもチルチルがいなくて困ってるの？
困ってるっていうか、まあ困ってるかな。
I see, her over-the-top tsundere act tends to draw all the attention, but the girl's surprisingly helpful with the little things.
え？偶然でしょそれ。だってチルチルってバカじゃん。
Well, I won't deny she's a little naive at times.
なになに、最近ユージとみちるって仲良さそうだけど、そういうことなの？
Depends on your definition of something.
なにそれ、気になるんだからもう。
Michiru should be back in another 2 days or so. Curious about the results of her examination, but I've decided to refrain from contacting her beforehand. Probably better not to give the girl too much to think about right now. Hopefully she'll return better before these small stresses the groups have been undergoing build up into anything troublesome.
風見くん。
What, here to file another complaint about Makina?
そうじゃなくて、これ、そういえば渡してなかったなって思って。
Skaki hands me a number of souvenir flags from her vacation, half a dozen to be exact. These for Michiru.
そう。できれば自分で渡したかったけど、なかなかタイミングがつかめなくて。それで、風見くんなら仲いいみたいだから、自然に渡せるかなって思って。
Understood, I'll pass them on. Can I just tell her they're souvenirs from Skaki?
そうね。でも、言わなくてもいいけどね。
If I hand her 6 pennants without saying a word, she'll probably just be confused.
あ、そうか。じゃあ、そうしておいて。
Alright, thank you.
え？
Expressing gratitude on Michiru's behalf. Thank you for the souvenirs.
うん。そうね。じゃあ。
Get things prepared for a smooth return. Since our maid is currently exhausted, maybe I should tidy up Michiru's room in her place. Again, filling around a woman's room without permission strikes me as a bit questionable. Also, to be honest, it would be pretty damn embarrassing if anyone noticed me doing it. Well, I'm sure Sachi will be willing to do it, overworked as she might be. Maybe I'll pick her up an energy drink. Mumbling to myself, I leave the dorm and head for the convenience store. Our routines may have been disrupted by Michiru's absence, but I haven't been neglecting my training. Running through nature every morning gives you an intimate understanding of the passing of the seasons. These last few days, the air rushing past me has carried a smell suggestive of the imminent end of summer. Having finished my daily marathon, I took a quick shower in my room. Michiru should be back tomorrow, but it doesn't feel particularly real yet. Not that I doubt she'll be returning, but this was a purely observatory stay, so the real question is what results the hospital examinations will have produced. Not surprising that I'd still feel a little uneasy.
小峰幸であります。
No need for the formalities to come in.
はい、失礼します。
Sachi enters my room, her expression slightly troubled. We have a situation of some sort. What's wrong? You've got a gloomy look on your face.
はい、みちる様の件でご相談がありまして。
Michiru, you're some about it?
いえ、みちる様がではなく、みちる様の部屋でのことです。
So what happened then? Let's hear the details.
はい、詳しく話してみます。ご存知の通り、私はみちる様の部屋の掃除を任されました。そこで先ほど部屋を片付け、掃除機をかけ、最後に雑巾で床を水拭きさせていただいたのですが、最後にどうすればいいかわからない問題がありまして。
A Butterfinger-style dilemma, perhaps. Knock some fragile over?
いえ、そのようなドジっ子的な問題ではないのです。問題というのは、箱を見つけました。
A box?
はい、鍵のついた小さな箱でした。私はその中も整理しなくてはと開けにかかりましたが、そこで電動のこぎりを用意し、みちる様の部屋でスイッチをオンにしました。ドドドドドというモーター音も心地よく、さあ、これで箱も真っ二つであります。ですが、 その時にふと思ったのです。人の所有物を勝手に破壊していいものか。しかも電の子で。
Yuji just dead ass like grabs the box, pulls the gun, shoots the lock open.
落として割ってしまったとしても、それは自然の摂理ですから仕方ありません。ですが、意図的に破壊していいものかと。掃除を頼まれた時にどこまで破壊していいのか確認しておけば、こんなことにはならなかったのですが。
Let's see. Alright then, I'll take care of that box. That should resolve your issue, right?
はい、そうしていただけるとありがたく思います。では、これがみちる様の部屋の鍵で、それでは私、まだ手をつけていない作業がたくさんあるので、失礼させていただきます。
Michiru promptly bows, leaves the room. Bows and leaves the room. I drop the key on my desk, then fall back onto the bed. Naturally, I have no plans of actually doing anything about that box. Considering that it's locked, there's probably some Michiru doesn't want us seeing inside. No need to get out of my way to poke around. Pick up a paper bag and begin reading once more. But before I'm halfway through the page, there's another knock on my door.
風見さん、
What's wrong, Sachi?
実はドアに耳を当てて室内の様子を伺わせていただいていたのですが、何やら鍵を放り投げる音とベッドに寝転がる音、そして最後に読書を開始なさるような紙の音が聞こえたのです。まさかとは思いますが、風見さん、別に小箱ぐらいどうでもいいかなんて思われてはいませんよね。
I'm withering under this disapproving glare.
この小峰幸との約束を、軽んじてはおられませんよね。
Calm yourself, was just about that over.
申し訳ございません。私、風見さんを疑うような真似をしてしまって。
Not a problem anyways, yes, I'm planning to go. What now?
いえ、一応みちる様の部屋に行くまでを見届けないと思いまして、私部屋の掃除を任されておりますので、最後の小箱まで面倒を見てこそ任務完了と。その作業の一部を風見さんに託した手前、万が一風見さんが別に小箱ぐらいどうでもいいかと軽んじて。
Alright, I'm not neglecting anything. You want me to go immediately, right?
ありがたき幸せです。
What's wrong? I'm gonna take care of the box. You can leave now.
はい、この小峰幸、ドアのこちらで処理が完了するのをお待ちしております。
You're such a handful. Fine, got it. Just wait until I'm done.
はい。
Enter to find the room sparkling clean and neatly organized, just as Sachi said. The only thing even slightly out of place is a small box resting on Michiru's bed. It's an unassuming small little wooden chest, but notably solid and sturdy. You could imagine pirates stashing treasure in this thing. Probably a handmade product from some local general store. Seems fairly well worn from years of use. Sachi still out there? Sachi responds instantly. She's clearly hovering just outside, waiting for me to deal with the box. Realize I've gotten roped into an explosive ordnance disposal detail. Taking the box in my hands, I begin to fiddle around with fiddle around idly with the lock. You're absolutely determined to have me look inside this thing.
そうですね。何しろ掃除を任されましたので、小箱といっても軽んじるわけには。
Neglecting that box would based on the fact that apparently them not finding this box, if he tries to hug her and get her to stay, endanger her life. Alright, just hold on a minute. Well then, what's the next move? I'm naturally a bit reluctant to open Michiru's private property without approval. That said, I can't exactly stand around here all day. I have to think up some excuse to persuade Sachi. Sachi, friend, where'd you find this?
そうですね。普通に机の上に置いてありましたよ。
Let's see. she didn't hide the thing. Does that mean she doesn't particularly mind if someone looks inside? Tricky judgment call. Grandpa's playing around with the box. Absentmindedly, it seems I've forgotten the thing opened without even realizing it. Charisma, instinctive kleptomania. God, why am I so good at stealing shit? Mechanism is easily picked. Barely even counts as a lock. Surely you'd guard anything you really wanted to protect a little more securely.
Lock-picking lawyer.
Yes, it hardly matters now that I've opened it. May as well take a look. What's the fucking video? It's like you're locked in, you've locked yourself in a safe for safety. The lock-picking lawyer is outside. To be honest, I'm a little curious myself, and I've half convinced myself of the dubious theory that the girl actually wanted someone to look inside. Well, why would my excuse? I'll meet you box appear inside. What's this? Sorry, but be quiet for a second. There are several small notebooks and a number of photographs inside. The majority of the pictures seem to have been taken before I arrived in the school. Mainly casual snapshots and group photos featuring Michiru's classmates. And in each one of them, Michiru's face has been cut out of the image. The rest is left intact, moving only herself from the world, but preserving the others carefully. I thoroughly examined the photographs one by one. There was a shot of Michiru sandwiched between Mark and Amine. Michiru was leaning against a slightly embarrassed Sakaki. Michiru having her shoulders massaged by Sachi. In every case, Michiru's face alone is precisely snipped out with scissors. At a glimpse, these all appear to have been taken in happy moments, but that's probably exactly why she did this. Michiru must have felt that she didn't belong there. The girl must have been unable to accept the presence of her false self in these happy scenes. The notebooks are filled with mementos written in small characters, notes on the performance she'd been putting on in this school. There are also extensive itemized lists concerning Sakaki, Amine, Makina, and Sachi's likes and dislikes. Notes on what makes them upset and happy, clearly accumulated through careful trial and error. Seems pretty clear the girl was using this as a reference for her many small acts of kindness. A girl. Honest thoughts slip out of my mouth against my will. Is an idiot. Even after all this effort, Michiru didn't exactly pull off the charade, did she? Sometimes her act was more convincing than others, but as a whole, she was just trying way too hard. Did you say something, bud?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. That tsundere character must have been part of her plan as well, but I saw through it on the very first day. And of course, everyone else also knows that's not her true nature. Even though she stuck with it, convinced that playing the clown was the only way she could be anything but a nuisance. I'll give her an A for her effort, but seriously, handwriting seems to be another weakness of Michiru's. Her thoughts and feelings spill out across the pages and characters that even the most generous observer would have to call sloppy. But I'm only laughing at first. The earnest notes on her classmates and dubious strategies for forming smooth relations will eventually give way to a diary, and its contents are largely occupied with the terror she feels of her other self. Flipping through the pages, I jumped through the story in chronological order. God damn it, we're back here! 15th of
今
May.
日も心臓が痛い。もうとっくに慣れたと思っていたのに、この痛みは体が張り裂けそうになる。世界が怖い。でも生きていかなくちゃいけない。私のような人間が誰かの役に立てるなんて思ってないけど、迷惑だけはかけたくない。だから記憶がなくなるようなことはもう起こってほしくない。本当に怖い。
Actually, what
私
in-game
が私でなくな
date
るのが
are we on right now?
Sometime in August 2011, I think.
Yeah, it does sadly doesn't show the date when you save, which is dog shit. They should always include that.
セーブデータ削除。
19th of
み
May.
んなと話している時に記憶が一瞬なくなった。一瞬だと思っていたけど、それはかなり長い時間だったようだ。それでもその場は何事もなかったかのようだった。また昔みたいになるのが怖い。そうならないように薬を飲まなくちゃいけない。 私は
2nd of
私でいなくちゃ
June.
いけない。今日は学園に男の人が来た。彼は私の性格を疑っているようだ。もっとうまくやらなくてはいけない。
4th of
ユージ
June.
のことがよくわからない。あの人はつかめない。いつも怒っているの？嫌われなければいいんだけど。頭の良い人は苦手だ。私を見下すから。でもユージはみんなを見下しているようにも見える。ちょっと意味がわからない。
Listen, I'm not one to treat someone differently because of their own lackings. After
Their
all, I am above
shortcomings.
all of you, and therefore all of you are beneath me. 10th of
記
June.
憶がなくなると嫌なことばかりだったけど、嬉しいことが起こった。海の近くで猫を見つけた。猫は黒くて小さくて肉球がプニプニで可愛かった。餌をあげたら怒られるだろうか。
13th of June.
猫が仲良くしてくれた。嬉しかった。チーズかまぼこをあげたのが良かったのだろうか。今度はワンタンをあげてみよう。でもあまり仲良くしない方がいいのも分かってる。もし猫がいなくなったらすごく寂しくなる。 どこか
Apparently
に
you
行ってし
don't
ま
eat.
ったら
17th of
私
June.
は今日猫といるところをユージに見られた。恥ずかしかった。
22nd of
生ま
July.
れて初めてキスをしたというかされた。なぜユージはそんなことをしたのだろう。意味がわからない。あの人はここに来てからずっと意味がわからない。もう彼の目を見て話せないかもしれない。ユージのバカ。
25th of July.
ユージのバカ。
28th of July.
夏休みにみんなが出かけるらしい。ユージと二人になるなんて無理。どうしよ
2nd of
う。
August.
ユージとデートごっこした。あれは全部嘘だから失うことはない。だって最初から何もないから。またしたい。すごくプレゼントに石をたくさんもらった。すごく嬉しかった。
Oh my god damn it.
大切にしよう。
She actually liked the rocks. 7th of August.
猫に名前をつけた。ニャンメル。ニャンメルって変な名前。でも大切な名前だけど、名前なんてつけて大丈夫だろうか。どこかに逃げて行ったりしない？私は
12th of August.
みんなが帰ってきた。嬉しいけど怖い。ユージが私だけのものじゃなくなってしまった。でも最初から私とはただのごっこだから大丈夫。みんなといると楽しいけど苦しい。
14th of August.
心臓が痛い。変だ。困った。困ったぞ。困る。私じゃない私が。ねえ、これも読んでるの？あなたはどこにいるの？
16th of
ニャン
August.
メルがいなくなった。やっぱり私は置いていかれてしまった。
17th of
具合
August.
が悪い。ずっと頭の中に霧がかかったみたい。もうここは 私の居場所じゃないのかもしれない。あなたの方がうまくやれる。
Whoops. 18th of
ず
August.
っとうまくやれるはず。願い。私はもう無理。お願い。あなたがやって。
I know this is like kind of tragic, but at the same time, all I could think is just Michiru going, I can't do this shit no more. 20th of
今
August.
日はユージと一緒に眠ることができた。幸せだった。ユージに全部話した。あなたのことも話した。たくさん話した。私は本当に幸せだったけど、嫌われたらどうしようって怖かったよ。明日から入院することになった。私はもうこのままユージの思い出だけで、それで終わりでいい。ユージとの関係が壊れたり、学園のみんなと離れたり、怖いことがもしこの先起こるとしたら耐えられない。だから私はもう終わりにします。ね、お返事ください。あなたのこと、最初は大嫌いで嫌なやつだと思っていたけど、そんなことないんでしょ。だったら少しは私のお願いを聞いてくれてもいいんじゃない。お願いです。お返事をください。
21st of
は
August.
じめまして。こうして君に気持ちを伝えることになるなんて思わなかった。君の体で、君の知らない間にいろいろなことをしてごめんなさい。でも、悪気はなかったの。私、君がたくさん頑張っているのも知ってる。君が辛いのも知ってる。力になってあげようとしたけど、うまくいかなくてごめんね。君の親友になりたかった。いつだってそばに寄り添っていて、困ったことがあったら助けてあげたかった。頭を撫でて、一人の夜も怖くはないってキスしてあげたかった。でもそれが逆に君を傷つけちゃったんだね。消えるなんて言わないで。もし消えるとしても、それは私の役目。この体は君のものでしょ。だからちゃんと検査を受けて、しっかり生きてください。はじめまして。本当にお返事をくれるなんて思わなかったので、すごく驚いています。
Please answer me. Sup? Jesus Christ, I didn't expect this.
今は朝の早い時間です。これから病院に行かなくてはいけません。だから、ちゃんとお返事をかけるかどうか心配です。あなたはやっぱり優しくて、頭が良くて、それで、私より、私に向いていると思います。私はバカだし、頭悪いから、頑張ってもダメでした。もうこれ以上何かを失うのは怖いです。悲しい気持ちになると、暗闇の中にすっと落ちていくような感じになります。その間、きっとあなたが、私として表面に出ているのだと思います。私は暗闇の中で、膝を抱えて小さく、ぎゅっと目をつむって丸くなっています。そうすると、あなたと入れ替わって、この世界に戻ってくるというわけです。ごめんなさい。私はもう終わりにします。今度そうなった時は、目を開けずに、ずっと暗闇の中で過ごします。だってそうすれば、きっと、ずっとあなたが、私でいられると思うから、ややこしくてごめんなさい。とにかく、私はもう、終わりです。これからは、あなたにお任せします。あなたなら、誰にも嫌われず、 何も失わずにうまく生きていけると思います。わがまま言ってごめんなさい。押し付けるみたいユージに
Whoops, fuck.
よろしくお伝え。わがまま言ってごめんなさい。押し付けるみたいでごめんなさい。ユージによろしくお伝えください。愛していたとかそういうのは言わなくていいです。ただ彼とずっと仲良くしてください。お願いします。あ、今ドアがノックされました。ユージが来ました。この学園を出て病院に行ったらもうユージとも会えないし、みんなともお別れなんですね。そう考えると結局寂しいのには変わりないね。生きてるって失い続けることなんですね。ユージがドアの向こうから私の名前を呼んでいます。私は彼に名前を呼ばれることが大好きでした。最後にわがままを言って何度か名前を呼んでもらおうと。それぐらいいいよね。名前を呼ばれるとドキドキするんです。本当に行かなくちゃ。さようなら。
Close the notebook and put it away. At the very bottom of the box, she stowed the rocks I gave her on our first play date. Told the girl to throw them away, but it seems she didn't listen. To anyone else, they just looked like stones. But to Michiru, they must have been a treasure of sorts. And if it's going to turn out like this, maybe I should have given her something a little more respectable after all. That's too late for regrets. Time doesn't wait for us to realize our mistakes. That's just how this world works. I shut the lid and pushed the box deep inside Michiru's closet. Thought you I'm done with that box.
さすが風見さんです。それであの箱の中は何だったんですか？
The contents, right. After thinking the matter over for a moment, someone left the call.
Yeah, we lost blood.
Mm-hmm. Should we just keep going, or wait?
We've been at it for a while, so I suppose we could.
Yeah, but the finale is like literally right there, isn't it?
No, still got a bit of way to go.
Is it gonna be more than 1 hour?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then we are gonna end the scene and then stop. I'm thinking the matter over for a moment. I offer a brief response. It was empty.
からなるほど、わかりました。では掃除は完了ですね。
That's right. Nice work, by the way. The place is really sparkling. Michiru will definitely be overjoyed when she gets back.
いえ、私にとっては当たり前のことですから。でもそれでみちる様が喜んでくれるなら嬉しいですね。早く明日にならないかな。
True enough. Hope tomorrow gets here quickly. Sachi trots off down the hallway with a spring in her step. I lean against Michiru's door and heave a leaden sigh. And there we go. Vanishing Act. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Oh yeah, actually when I look at the fucking list, Vanishing Act, it also has a box to end the world, Vox in box, send the future, stuck on you, and my feelings. So yeah, there's a bit left. They should have just put Fool on the Hill before Vanishing Act, before the fucking empty box, because that's where the fucking bad ending actually happens. But no, instead they just put the fucking put the bad end all the way at the end, and then don't have an explanation for, hey, at the end of this, there's gonna be a choice. If you don't notice it, fuck you. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this open. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you, folks. Hopefully.
I still need to turn on my webcam. There we go. Now, bye-bye.